See this behind me? Gonna have to change it very soon because the snow is almost all gone, but there's still a patch on my yard, so I'm still counting it as winter until the 21st. So plus I don't have any good backgrounds to recent memory to share it with. But welcome. That's a topic for another time. Welcome one and all. Welcome one and everyone to Stone Soup Poetry. And we have an amazing all open mic tonight. I know it's amazing because you're a part of it. And I haven't been able to post anything about it because I didn't get the bio and photo until about an hour before I had to leave work. But Lee Eric Friedman is going to be our feature for next week. That information should be posting up later tonight, I hope. And he's someone who I've actually seen perform a couple of times as part of the Ipswich open mic scene, and he has not lost his touch. He has not gained any performance rust, and I look forward to seeing what he's going to be doing with us for next week. And hopefully more features are going to be announced for National Poetry Month. I have to confirm one feature for April, and hopefully more are going to be coming. And enough about that. Let's get to you guys. It's the Remninator 5000. He is He's spinning the wheels, and he is chosen for the first open mic participant. Let's go now to Jackie Chow.
Okay, I hope I can do this. My internet is not very stable again. Okay, let me get the poems. Okay, so this poem is called The Case Against Writing Poetry. I write these words while the world goes off to work. I wish for their Toyotas and their court cases. They are the real birds, woodpeckers perhaps. I envy their rhythm and their momentum. I'd settle for 1 hour away from this desk. I'll play the gold digger, you play Don Quixote. We'll eat filet mignon and drink Merlot. Let's abandon these pages of gnarled verses. They're dead as origami wings with their lofty dreams of flying. That's one. And then let me read the other poem. Okay, this poem is called Apologies to Anne Sexton. There's no ambition bird in my heart. The bird inside me pecks at seeds tossed by human hands. It's all she would eat, fluttering from a nearby bush to the fountain's edge. She knows nothing about bent backs and pricked fingers harvesting the crops. The food that falls on her claws is simply a dropping from God. Never has she beheld the world from where ravens gather on a power line. She has no aspiration to soar to such places. And if I'm allowed, I'm gonna read a haiku that won me $200. Okay, this haiku goes as follows. Summer vacation, the wobbly handles of a rope bridge. I just got a letter saying this poem won second place in the Golden Triangle Haiku Contest with a $200 reward. The most I ever made from a haiku, 3-line poem. Thank you.
Very cool. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And up next, I'd like to go next to Mr. Bill Lewis. He's got his mic off, so the Remninator 5000 thought he was a good choice. Mr. Lewis?
Stupid old Randomator 5000. When I was your age, we didn't have any Randomator 5000s. Oh no, we had to work with the Grunt Masters 22 and 23. You don't know what it's like having only two digits.
I can't hear you, Bill.
I hope that was a joke. No, seriously, Bill, we can't hear you.
Wait, I
Oh,
can't hear
no.
me?
Now you can. Now I
Now
get
we
it.
can. I didn't know if that was a joke.
Backing up. Hi, everybody. So I was teaching class the other day, and I was just presenting this paper that I wrote. This is the most significant computer science paper I've ever written. And one of my students suddenly jumped up and said, "My grandfather read that paper. He told me about it." How cool is that? Ah, ah, ah. Woo. Well, as nice as that may be, may I share, sir, my screen? Just a moment. Where am I? I just did this. Let me try that again. I am not always right where I think I should be. Zoom, please be nice to me. Why am I not seeing what I'm expecting to see? I'm confused about something in my um, Zoom. I've used Zoom a gazillion times and I haven't had this problem before. What in the bejesus is going on? I'm terribly sorry. Why don't you go on without me, um, um, Chad, and I'll figure out why isn't it showing me what it's supposed to show me.
Okay, I'll mute you for now, and we'll go over to let's go over to Mr. Jon Wesick. He's got books to sell.
Yes, you can find my book on the website that shall not be named. It's called Reductio ad Absurdum, and I'll read the story. Or maybe part of the story to finish up the second half. It's called In and Out in 30 Minutes. And the pages are stuck together. My goodness. Look at that. Okay. The shortness of breath and pain in my chest finally convinced me I needed coronary bypass surgery. I don't trust doctors. They were wrong about margarine, carbs, and eggs. I guess you could say I'm a skeptic, a free thinker, a man who does his own research. That's why I went to Lubavitchevi. I didn't even need an appointment. The guy on the phone said to come right in. A clean-cut employee met me outside the garage while I was still in my car. "What can we do for you today?" he asked. Nikolai wore gray coveralls with his name embroidered on a patch over his left pocket. His eyes were the deep blue of Lake Baikal. "I'm here to get a coronary bypass surgery." "Why don't you give me your keys and help yourself to some coffee in the waiting room while I check your odometer?" He wrote down my mileage while I entered. I inserted a K-cup into the coffee machine and pushed the button. The comforting smell of petrochemicals filled the air, and a sign next to the window that looked out into the garage said "No entry for insurance purposes." A display included a vial of dirty transmission fluid. There was a stack of vintage People magazines on the table next to a chair upholstered in gray fabric. I took my coffee and sat down. "Mr. Blumtrapster!" Nikolai entered. He held an air filter that was black with soot. "We recommend changing the filter for $29.99, and those windshield wipers look a little warm." "What about my coronary bypass?" I asked. "How much you thinking of spending?" Nikolai asked. How considerate of him. In the hospital, you don't know what a procedure will cost until you get the bill. At Lubavitchevi, the prices were posted on the wall. Oil change, $49.99. Radiator flush, $89.99. Balanced tires, $39.99. I didn't see the price for a coronary bypass, though. "I don't know." I stroked my chin. "Maybe $3,000. $3,000. Oh, yeah, I could definitely do that. Nikolai typed at the computer behind the desk. Using polyethylene windshield wiper fluid tubing will save you a bunch. We usually close at 9. Why don't I book you for 10:30 p.m. on Thursday? That way I can do some research. Cash up front before the surgery, okay? By the way, it'll be $129.99 for the oil change and filter. I could tell he was a straight shooter right away. He was confident, had a firm handshake, and didn't talk down to me. I handed him my credit card. See you then.
Nicely done. And I think Bill is ready now that he's changed the background.
Yes, you have surmised correctly. I think I had too many dirty pictures up in the background. That's why I was getting confusing. But, you know, I
I don't want to
mean,
see your nude pictures of James Madison. Let's continue.
no, of mole rats, man, hot mole rats, and not to mention, yeah, okay. Um, I need two volunteers to assist me in the reading of this. No, I need one volunteer to assist me. As you know, I perform as James Madison. I teach high school. And so here is the script that I use when teaching high school. So I talk a little bit about the beginning of the country and we sing the Liberty Song. And then we have Patrick Henry's great moment. Is there someone in the audience there who would like to play the part of Patrick Henry? It must be someone who is wild and impassioned. Remember, he is 15 years older than me and a mesmerizing speaker. Powerful, loud, obnoxious, self-important, but inspiring. He liked to dress in buckskin with woolen stockings and unpowdered wig. Ha! As if he were some big, strong, self-reliant backwoodsman. But his dad was pretty rich. So I need someone who is loud and obnoxious.
I nominate Chadford.
Okay,
Oh,
Poet
thanks.
of Three Rivers, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, here we come. Big and strong, you are the man. March 23, March 1775. Patrick Henry is 38 years old. At the House of Delegates, his most famous speech.
Gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. War has actually begun. Why stand we here idle? What is it that gentlemen wish? What would they have? Of life so dear, is peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know
Continue.
not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death.
Bravo, bravo, huzzah, huzzah. And everybody's just jumping up and down and screaming. It's a wild time. He is challenging the king. They can hang him for this. Keep your mind on that. His speech shots across the colonies like a lightning bolt. And a month later, on 20th April 1775, one day after the battles of Lexington and Concord, Lord Dunmore, the royal governor of Virginia, sent troops to take gunpowder from the armory in Williamsburg. 600 armed men gathered at Fredericksburg, threatening to march against the British. But after much heated debate and discussion, George Washington and the cooler heads concluded it was not time for military action. Patrick Henry.
Men of Hanover, who will march with me against the British.
Me, yes, I will march. Huzzah, huzzah, march, march, march. 150 men joined Henry as they marched 100 miles to Williamsburg. I was determined that if there was to be fighting, I should be there. My brother Ambrose and I, we jumped on our horses and headed after them. We were too late. When the Hanover militia approached the city, Henry demanded, Lord Dunmore, return the powder.
It is by British law that the government cannot confiscate any possessions without just compensation. I see no compensation.
Lord Dunmore did not want a repeat of Lexington, so he wrote a bill of exchange for £330.
We have not the powder, but we have a victory. The governor has recognized our rights and our determination to protect them. He fears us. He shall not tread upon us again without consequences.
Huzzah, huzzah, huzzah! Ambrose and I rode up about this time. Remember, I was 23 years old, 5'4", 100 pounds. I have lots of enthusiasm, but very little experience. Colonel Henry, James Madison Jr. of Montpelier, Orange County. Sir, we have ridden hard to be with you. We had hoped to stand beside you in battle.
And you may yet do exactly that. There will be war, and it shall not be long in coming. I can see strong determination in your face. I expect great things from you, young Madison.
I rode home with my heart fluttering. Patrick Henry thought I had greatness. And there is the first of the skits that I do with my high school students, and I will share a few more of them with you on future events. So thank you so much, Mr. Henry. You did a most marvelous job.
Bill, that was such a beautiful constitutional moment.
And a damn fine Patrick Henry, too.
Let's keep it going and bring Richard Spisak, a.k.a. Patrick Henry, back to the podium.
Well, it was my honor, Bill, to help you with that. Actually, during the Bush administration, I did a series of fundraisers dressed and performing as our brother in arms, the famous Thomas Paine. So I had some big fun doing that. Yep, and my wife, who accompanied me, was performing as Madam, the former governor of Alaska, Sarah Palin. So we were quite a pair there raising money for Democrats in Florida. It was fun. Okay, since we covered politics completely and thoroughly, I won't have to read this, but I'm going to anyway, because that's the sort of guy I am. Now, some of you may be old enough to remember this guy that had seemed like such a criminal, such a traitor, and he was. But this is a poem called Making Nixon Seem Reasonable and Measured. It's a kind of ancient conservative treasure. Sure, old Tricky had a big bag of crinkly hijinks to put it over on the Hicks. He sought to harness prejudice. His troubled Southern strategy hinged on this. His cynic pal, old oil spiral Agnew, thought he knew a trick or two, took his payoffs right in his office, and he was caught out. It was to us quite a shockus. He tried mocking in the doubt riff. He cast aspersions on the press just like this. Yeah, way back when he came to this grabbing, shaking down with a ham-handed fist. Once again, indeed, it has come to this. Said he could get a couple million, said old Tricky Dicky on the tape. It was so thrilling. That bold-faced villain. He could get a bag of cash. He could do it. Yeah, it might be rash. Yeah, sure, more of that. He could grab it, rake in ATT and ITT. What the hell? They're all in it. They have no shame cozying up to the federal tit. They're hardly alone to take the blame and all that shit. They got no shame. Just doing business. Purchase justice. Hey, you can trust us. We're with this. And hey, we're the ones who know the game. We got the levers. We're well experienced achieving fame. Spying plumbers were trained by the CIA. They decided, and if arrested, they recited, oh, what the hell, they went anyway. Old Gordon Liddy pointed out that day, we're just commie fighters first and second, as we reckon. They told each other that every day, and even in court. As a last resort, breaking and entering into Democratic offices. Yeah, if we don't find it, we'll just redesign it, all in all, to fill our coffers with it. Manufacturing evidence, no big whoop. After breaking and entering, a little character assassination. Hey, earns and burns and gets the hook. And if they get caught, hey, write a book. So that's one. And my second one, for your amusement and patriotic fervor, this is called Educate 'em. Studying history and loving science takes us away from blind myths reliance. Collecting honest data builds a little life and drags us up from the miasma of single-cell pond life. Myth and legend have their place, but civilization and technology have our own special grace. The shift to uplift feels good and right. Well-trod footpaths and their recognition enriches our mental activity and improves our condition. Threading through the waves of history reduces crippling erroneous assumptions and so much misery. And while reading carefully the annals of science, we learn of heroic actors and their experimental reliance. We've carefully stacked the facts, clearing the troublesome rubble of hacks. Academe admitted is far from perfect, but after all in all, it's humans that work it. It's true science advancements are often opposed, and any honest reading of science history shows. And as science inspires us, we may yet make daily progress. Even so, our high-tech encrusted lives might celebrate with our global brethren and sisterin gaily. Repeatable phenomena upon which adhere and which facts adhere is one of the ways we grow a better future here. Collect the data, then decide, and by all means, never let the fearful steer the ride. We may live surrounded by technology, but for progress to truly flourish, for human dignity, there is never a need for an apology. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Richard. The only time I did a drama, I actually played a politician, was Alexander Hamilton. My famous line was, wait, was that 10 paces or 5? Anyway, I'm gonna make a request. I have to go help a loved one for a minute. I got called away to help somebody. So I asked Jon Wesick if he's so kind to take over, but I also wanted to bring it to Jan Rowe next, if you'd be so kind.
Okay, everybody, guess who's next? General!
Yeah.
Hi. So that weekly writers group we're in, so this is like, I don't know if it's a quarterly, but it's an issue. So, and I don't select what goes in there, but I'm in here, so I read it. It's very nice. There's a lot of photography this time.
Show me the picture.
It's backwards. Yeah, it's a bunch of those are like, I think they're illegal now for kids, aren't they? The rocking horses. Did they say they're too dangerous?
It's a rocking horse labyrinth.
Yes.
Oh, is that up at like Newbury, Mass? Like I've been there.
I have no idea where it is. It's very possible. Very possible.
Yeah, it's like it's up by like Newburyport and like that going up that way.
I wondered where it was from.
Okay, so and some of the people have scribes, but we're in the writing, we're writers. So this is called Victory. And I open it with a quote by Bob Marley and the Wailers, War. We believe in the victory of good over evil. So a member of this writing group years ago became housed after living in 500-acre Benjamin Franklin Park. We, in honor of his housing, had given him a Target gift certificate. So en route to the writing group, he had taken out and opened his wallet to give a bill to a beggar. The person asking for money grabbed his wallet and took off running with his wallet. The theft victim came over to tell me this. Although robbed of his wallet, he continued on to this writers group at the Cathedral of St. Paul. So another really good writer, Devin, soon after he came into Sprout Hall at the cathedral, opposite Brewer's Fountain, and he was carrying the theft victim's wallet. So this also a really good writer who often takes us with him had seen the whole event and retrieved his fellow writer's wallet from the trash where the robbing beggar had thrown it, and it still had the gift certificate in it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jan. Up next, how about Jeff Taylor?
Thank you, John. I had a poem published in the Blood Rag, issue number 17, put out by editor Matt Wall. I'll put a link to it in the chat after, but here's the poem that I had published in that issue. This is called Disenfranchised. There's an ant crawling on a yellow curtain, soaked in taking. The sun's coming down like rain. The morning curtains are drawn like revolvers. I'm 160 miles an hour in the breakdown lane, but I still can't shake the thumb. I'm sinking in circles, covered in mourning, coming down like rain. I am an ant for the taking. There has to be a better way to say this. This is exactly what I want to tell you.
Okay, thank you, Jeff Taylor.
Thank you, John.
How
Thank you,
about
everybody.
Nike Truth, who was our feature last week and did a marvelous job?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, John. This is an older poem called Who's Hit? The mother, the son, the wife, the cousin, the child of God, the sentient, the worshiper, the pagan, the past, the present, the future, and the context, the lamb, the peacock, the fish, the serpent, the bone, the back, the blood, and the country sun, the secluded, the unredeemable, the klepto, the hedonist, the good times, the conspiracies, the idols, the sailor's tale. Always, always talking, sometimes talking. The vulnerable, the bridge, the runaway, the fuel, the detail, the clarity, the routine, the nuance. Thank you.
Thank you, Nike Truth. Always great. Up next, Robert Fleming.
Good evening. So I'm also going to encourage the Stone Soup players to participate in another skit tonight. John, would you be able to turn on the share screen for me?
I believe it's on. Let's take a look. Hold on a second here. Yes, it should be on.
Wonderful. Okay. So tonight we will be going back to one of the love scenes from Star Trek, from the episode The Conscience of the King. We have two players tonight, Captain Kirk, whose motivation is to be seduced by uh, a female actress, and the female actress's motivation is to seduce him so she can manipulate him and avoid her becoming a suspect in a murder. This is the first scene where they meet. And then at the end of the scene, they have their big embrace. So we're looking for two actors, one to play Captain Kirk and one to play Lenore, who is the object of desire.
Oh, can I be Kirk?
Yes, thank you, Jeff. And we need someone to read Lenore.
Rich wants to be Lenore, he told me. He private messaged me and said he wants to be Lenore.
That's fine. Is that true, Rich?
No, it's not true.
Jeff, you are just on a thing today.
I want to be. I want to make out with you at least fictitiously.
All right, let's virtually faux get it on.
Okay, so
especially since Barbara Anderson, who is the actor who played Lenore, is pretty fine, and as Kirk ventured through the galaxy looking for some strange, he got quite a few winners in his collection. So I'm happy to be among that number.
Thank you, Rich. Your casting is accepted. It starts at Leighton's home. The cocktail party is in full swing in the main room, and Martha's bringing another tray of food in.
I take it you're the welcoming committee. Is that for me?
Why not? I saw your performance today. May I extend my appreciation?
My father will be delighted, mister. Mister.
Captain James Kirk, Starship Enterprise.
We are honored.
I had hoped to meet your father here tonight, personally.
I'm sorry, Captain Kirk. He has a rigid rule about that. He never sees anyone personally, and he never attends parties.
An actor turning away his admirers? Very unusual.
Caridian is a most unusual man. You saw Macbeth. That was my father.
Then I'll talk to Lady Macbeth.
So, Captain of the Enterprise. Interesting.
So, Lady Macbeth. Interesting. What's your next move?
We play 2 performances at Benicia, if the Astral Queen can get us there.
She's a good ship.
Takes a glass from a passing tray.
Thank you. You were very impressive as Lady Macbeth.
Thank you. And as Lenore Caridian?
Not necessarily. Oh, very impressive, Lenore. I'd like to see you again.
You mean professionally?
Not necessarily.
I think I'd like that. Unfortunately, we must keep a schedule.
You don't have a schedule now, do you?
Fucking killing me, Jeff. You mean leave? But I've only just arrived.
So have I.
And you hate to overstay a welcome.
Exactly.
Why not?
Good. I'll make our apologies to our hostess. I'll meet you outside. Tired of walking?
No, just thinking.
About what?
At the party, you were such a brash young man.
And now?
Now, somehow different. Not a ship's captain with all those people to be strong and confident in front of. You know, you're really very dear, aren't you? In some ways, very lonely.
But just as their lips are about to meet, Kirk spots a body among the rocks and goes to investigate.
It's Tom Layton. He's dead.
Thank you. That was one of the love scenes from Star Trek. And I'd like to thank our Stone Soup players, Jeff and Rich, who really were able to capture the spirit of romance.
Yeah,
And
I-
it's
especially
easy to act
those
when you're
Shatner-esque
really in love.
pauses.
Yeah. Jeff, you were fucking killing me. You actually split individual words into pieces. Like,
There
I'm
was
so fucking
enough
mad at
words
you right now.
sometimes.
I couldn't even get through it. When you did you almost made the word exactly into 4 syllables.
It was the only word in the line.
I have a proposal, ladies and gentlemen, that one of these Stone Soups we should get together and read all of our poetry as William Shatner.
I'm down for that.
Yeah. Ethan Mackler, are you gonna give us anything tonight? Bass playing or poetry reading or anything?
I was hoping to.
Please go ahead. Thank you, Ethan. Rich Boucher, you're up.
Hey, thanks. Appreciate it. Good to see y'all. Okay, so this poem got published uh, the day before yesterday, and it was published in a magazine from Philadelphia called Cul-de-sac of Blood. And what they tend to feature is work of horror. And this poem is somewhat autobiographical. Okay. And the poem is called The Angry Spoon. She kept a long-handled wooden soup spoon in the kitchen, but she kept it in the junk drawer. The reason she chose to do this was because one day she lost her temper and took a pen and drew an angry face in the concave curve of the wood. This was the birth of the angry spoon. And whenever one of her 3 children committed an infraction bad enough to make her blood boil, she would call her child into the kitchen, order him or her to look at the angry face in the spoon, and she would harshly rap it against the child's knuckles, never hard enough to draw blood. No resulting bruise would last more than a half hour, but the smack was potent and invested with enough frustration to make the memory last in someone for a lifetime. And then one night, 10 years to the day she last summoned one of her children for a meeting with the angry spoon, the mother got up in the middle of the night, terribly thirsty. Everyone else in the house was asleep, and the only sound was the stoic hum of the Whirlpool refrigerator, beige sentinel to the countertops and tiles, and to her, a morphing trapezoid of light from a car passing slowly on the road by the house crawled across the cabinets in a diagonal path just then. And then the light was gone. She reached for a drinking glass in the cupboard, but in her half-awake state, her grip slipped, and she dropped the glass on the floor. The glass smashed noiselessly in slow motion. She was about to tiptoe to get a brush and dustpan when she saw the front of the junk drawer shuffle open, forward and back, opening itself, beckoning one to come look. She crept cautiously across the exhausting, long miles of the kitchen floor until she got to the drawer. She reached for the handle in the dark and opened the drawer. Some things just can't make sense. A sparrow flies into a window and dies. Snow falls on the 1st of May in Fresno. You can hear a calliope in the distance somewhere, but you know there's no circus in town. She looked down and saw the angry spoon looking up at her, meeting her eyes with its own there in the gloom. The spoon grinned at her and told her with a whisper she would get very sick very soon, that she didn't have much time left.
Thank you, Rich.
That's a very different utensil than the one on Toy Story.
Yeah, it's a true story actually. My mother, I outlived my mom. She died early from a stupid, needless, and protracted battle with cancer. And when we were kids, she did have, those long wooden spoons that you stir spaghetti sauce with. She had one of those, and I mean, she just grew up with corporal discipline herself, so she brought it on to us, and hers was the angry spoon.
Hmm.
My little sister still has the original spoon, and sometimes when I go back to Massachusetts to visit my sisters, they'll they'll break it out to we will have a laugh now because we're grown and it's not as fear inducing, obviously, and it's just a memory. So
Okay, for some reason I'm thinking I want Rich Boucher to do a version of Inside Out, but
what is
anyway,
that? What's Inside Out, John? What is that?
isn't it that movie where the
Pixar.
yeah the Pixar the all the different emotions inside the girl's head?
Oh, I think I've heard of this, but I haven't seen it.
Well, somehow I think your version would be good. Anyway, our closer
I can
for the
see that.
first round is James Van Loy. Take it away, James. You're muted, James.
Okay, I got it. This is called One End to Another. One end to another. Bursting forth everywhere, this lesser evil, wanting to just become a resurrected republic, somehow shaking off imperial chains to bring us from the execution in electric chair of poor Ethel Rosenberg to where we sit, arrested for protesting genocide. In Gaza, of all the deadly places, largest outdoor prison become dehydrated, starving camp of death, being pushed out to desert of our squashed empathy, our mass media great emptiness, stretching away behind the head of decapitated Statue of Liberty, away out in the coarse, salty waves, looking back at us, questioning reality. And I got a song here for you. This is actually a Joe Hill song. Long-haired preacher come out every night, try to tell you what's wrong and what's right. But when they ask about something to eat, they just answer with voice so sweet. You will eat, you will eat by and by and by. In that glorious land above the sky, way up high, work and pray, live on hay, live on night. You'll get pie in the sky when you die, that's a lie. And the Starvation Army, they play, and they sing, and they clap, and they pray, till they get all your coin on their drum. Then they tell you when you're on the bum. In the sweet by and by, you will eat by and by. In that glorious land above the sky, way up high, work and pray, live on hay, live on hay. Holy rollers, jumpers come out. They holler, they jump, and they shout. Give your money to Jesus. He will cure all your diseases away. You will eat by and by, in that glorious land above the sky, way up high. Work and pray, live on hay, live on hay. You'll get high in the sky when you die, that's a lie. Working folk of all countries unite. Side by side, we for freedom will fight. when the world and its wealth we have gained. To the grifters we'll sing this refrain. You will eat by and by, in that glorious land above the sky, way up high. Work and pray, live on hay, live on hay. You'll get high in the sky when you die. That's a lie. Thank you.
Thank you, James.
They really used to do this, and they sang this because oftentimes when they brought in the strike breakers and they had the goons there, they would actually bring in the Salvation Army to play music to drown out the voices of protesters, and they would actually get together and sing that song in response.
Wow.
That's from Joe Hill, of course, who was shot for his alleged crime in this is actually in the early years of the 20th century. Thank you.
Thanks, James. Round two. Let's continue with another round. That's why they call it round two. Jackie Cho. Hello, Jackie. Are you there, Jackie? Okay, well, Jackie's not there just yet. So the next on the list is me. So I will continue with the story I was reading. Hold on a second here. We'll come back to Jackie. Just when I thought everything worked out, a fly landed in the ranch dressing. My wife said, "You need to get a second opinion." I told her I'd asked the guys at the last call, but Enid was having none of it. That's how I found myself at Norma's hair salon. "Just take a seat and the next stylist will be right with you," a woman behind the register said. I sat next to what looked like the same vintage People magazines I'd seen at Lubitschewi. 3 stylists were fussing with women's hair, leaving about half the stations empty. The youngest, in a sleeveless shirt that showed off her armpit hair, was doing a dye job involving clips, a plastic shower cap, and bits of tin foil on an older woman. The air smelled of chemicals more noxious than anything I'd find at a plutonium recycling plant. I picked up a magazine and flipped to an article about Princess Di. "Hi, I'm Darla." The punk stylist interrupted my 1980s nostalgia. "You want a trim, or are you thinking of something more daring?" "I need an expert opinion on coronary bypass surgery and couldn't come up with a better place to ask than here." Actually, I could think of a better place, the last call, but saying so would have hurt Darla's feelings. "Got it covered," Darla said. "Come on back and take a seat." "What about her?" I pointed to the woman in the plastic shower cap who'd passed out from the fumes after I sat at Darla's station. "The dye needs another 20 minutes to set." Darla spread a barber's cape over my shoulders and sprayed my hair with water. "She'll be fine." I was beginning to have second thoughts. I liked the 3x5 photos of Ultraman Darla had taped to her mirror, but with all the loose hair on the linoleum floor, Norma's salon looked less clean than the garage at Lubitschewi. Nevertheless, I continued. "I don't trust the medical establishment, so I arranged for a mechanic to do my coronary bypass." "Well, not a mechanic, actually. He's a technician at an oil change shop." "I know what you mean." Darla measured a lock of my hair, held it between her fingers, and snipped. "Big Pharma's the worst. First there was Vioxx and then the opioids. You know, my roommate's sister-in-law has good luck with ephedra, malaria tablets, and horse pills. Have you tried them?" The pain was back. It felt like the Loch Ness Monster was standing on my chest. "Too late for that," I said. "I need the surgery." "My boyfriend knows a lot about cars." Dorla gazed upwards at us like a saint from a medieval painting. "He doesn't work out of a garage or anything, but I bet he could do your surgery in the parking lot behind the dollar store." I turned her down. Darla's boyfriend couldn't match Lubitschewi's 12-point inspection and free oil top-offs. I mean, I'm not an idiot, you know. There you go. Okay. Jackie Cho, are you there? Jackie Cho is not there. Chad, do you want to take over?
I guess so. Sure. Where are we at? We at the second round?
We had the second round. Jackie Cho wasn't responding.
I don't think Jackie Chow. Oh, she's here. She's just not responding. Okay.
She's not responding, and Bill Lewis would be next. And what I will do is I will message you the order.
Thank you, Bill Lewis. You have the comm.
Well, thank you very kindly. It is a great honor and pleasure to do this. The second thing that I do in class when I have the kids there is, of course, read some of the things that we wrote during those days. And for example, as James Madison, I most certainly would have read this little pamphlet by Phyllis Wheatley, who was the first African-American author of a book of poetry. Born in West Africa, she was sold into slavery at the age of 6 or 7 and transported to North America. She was purchased by the Wheatley family of Boston, who taught her to read and encouraged her poetry when they saw her talent. At one point, the leading figures of Boston were suspicious. How could a little black slave girl write such beautiful poetry? And they had a hearing. They actually had a hearing in what was it, the Old South Church, and had her recite her poetry and tell them about her poetry. It seems very insulting at one level, but no one could ever doubt that she was indeed the author of her poems. She was published in London, not in America, poems on various subjects, religious and moral, in 1773. And so this is one of the lovely poems that I have my students read. As soon the sun forsook the eastern main, the pealing thunder shook the heavenly plain. Majestic grandeur from the zephyr's wing exhales the incense of the blooming spring. Soft purl the streams, the birds renew their notes, and through the air their mingled music floats. Though all the heavens what beauteous dyes are spread, but the west glories in the deepest red. So may our breast with every virtue glow, the living temples of our God below, filled with the praise of him who gives the light and draws the sable curtains of the night. Let placid slumbers soothe each weary mind, at morn to wake, more heavenly, more refined. So shall the labors of the day begin, more pure, more guarded from the snares of sin. Night's leaden sceptre seals my drowsy eyes, then cease my song till fair aurora rise.
Thank you, Bill. Tony B actually did a presentation recently with a Harvard professor on Phyllis Wheatley, and gave great detail to the contracts and the statements verifying that she was the author of her poems. It was very interesting stuff. The next person up on the open mic, actually, let me see. Jackie John.
Poet of the Three River.
I was gonna say Richard Spisak is next. Unless you did you read already, John?
Yes, I already did.
Okay, just checking. Okay, Richard, you are next.
Thank you, sir. It's my honor again to regale you with my musings. This next piece is titled, oh, there we go. Go on now. It's called The Glorious, Victorious War in Greenland. The glorious, notorious war in Greenland, son, such a very daring war, rubber-soled victory they never needed to win. We softened up the ground with great big wads of cash. We bribed the local judges. They're already purchased. There'll be no backlash. We've had our apparatchiks thick as thieves on the ground long before you can imagine how easy the greasy, wheezy palm retrieves from a discounted bunch of thieving whores living like the locals out of doors. They're discounted and dismounted, yet as they are recounting, the shallow valet said it fits neatly and discreetly and melts on his palate. Any kind of sovereignty you'd like to purchase, wrap a few bills around it, darling boy. It's our favorite ploy. Voila, you won. You own the circus. Sure, we got the troops. They're all prepared. We got 'em memorizing sappy, snappy tunes. We got the thing all programmed there so they can't go wrong. None can compare. Our robot dogs are ready. Muskie says it's a go. He's on it, but just a trifle unsteady. What the hell? Let her go. They'll all be in position before anyone knows. We've already made the decision. It's just human long division. Just hold your finger there for the incision. We've cut the cables, turned the tables. Before they know it, there'll be our horses in the stables. We'll be installed in half an hour. They'll be delivering the real soft power. We won't bother with propaganda. If you want the truth, we really can't stand you. There's nothing like fait accompli, and let 'em say, Jose, can you see? The coast is, well, largely unguarded. We'll sneak in at night. No one will get a whiff until we farted. We'll announce it all at once. There'll be a vote. Right there, you dunce. It's all been calculated. It's totally plausible. Good night. It's so very logical.
If you say so. Logical. Thank you, Mrs. Spisak. Jose, can you see? Yes. Up next, I'd like to bring up Jan Rowe.
This is from it's another writing group I'm in. It's like I'm in 2.5 writing groups. This comes out whenever through the cathedral people that go. So this last one, 2 of his went in under my name. It looked like I was hogging it up, but I did write this one. And it's kind of like kind of rough. I didn't really finish it. Okay, it's called Did the Slaughter Happen? This is from the church, right? So did Herod really slaughter the innocents after the wise guys visited in an effort to kill Jesus? In Europe, there are 3 panel paintings of this slaughter, and 2 panels often cover the third. Josephus, that historian, he wrote 2 scrolls about Herod without mentioning, but if a couple dozen male children under 2 were martyred, may have been lost in time. So Herod killed 3 of his own sons, and his favorite wife, Marianne, he killed and put in honey. Well, actually, as Richie Berman says, on the first album I ever bought, as all 45s before, I got all 45s before Deja Vu by Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. So it happened just the other day. So recently, a father holds his children's remains in plastic bags, either hand against a backdrop of flames. A young engineering student in a hospital bed attached to an IV burns as flames advance. So you can see why this is not finished. American nurses are being kept from leaving by the Israeli government. The medical staff they're going after their licenses besides being targeted along with journalists. Thank you. Yep.
Ouch.
Ouch.
Yep. Thank you, Jan. And up next, let's welcome back Mr. Jeff Taylor. Well, you're welcoming him back. I'm welcoming him for the first time.
Pulse and everything.
Oops. He might be indisposed.
No, I'm here.
Oh,
Just give me 1 second.
Sure.
Okay, here I am. I had to switch my phone to my laptop. Sorry. All right, so this is a poem's called Wallow Vision, and it was recently published in Tickets to Midnight Volume 3. When you say build a wall, do you mean like finance the war? Will there be a music festival? Is that freedom rock? Or do you mean like a quarantine? Will they infect us, or will we infect them? Will there be a farmer's market, a wall roller coaster, porta potties with two-way mirrors? Will they commission a mural? Will it be the same on both sides? Will they put up an LED wall and sell ad space? If you mean like a scoreboard, I believe you. And
I believe too.
and behind me there you can see South African Nazis
Oh God.
stuck.
I thought that scene looked familiar. Very nice. And up next, welcome back. Not content to rest on their laurels, back on the open mic for this week. Let's welcome Nike Truth.
All right. This is a poem called Ars Poetica. Everybody want to be a poet. They want to evoke with their words. They want you to hang off every staccato. Want to touch those they can't even see. Everybody want to be a poet. They want to be their idol. They want you frozen in place, struck off every vowel that falls from their mouth. They want you to think, even for a second, what it's like to slide out your shoes and take a stroll in theirs. Everybody want to be a poet. They want to be the mouthpiece, giving you the courage and freedom to burst at the seams, to let in ecstasy and be infused with color. They want to put you together again and breathe peace into the cracks that others missed. Everybody want to be a poet. Thank you.
So true. Thank you, Nike. Oh, Jackie, you are back. You missed the number one spot in the second round of the round robin. Would you like to come back and read now?
Oh, yes, of course. Yes,
Sounds
sorry,
good.
I went to McDonald's.
No. There you go.
Okay. So this one might go into the key issue of Don Kingfisher Campbell. It's a very short poem. It's called The Key. You're a key with the serrated blade to enter and turn inside the lock of a bottomless door. I'll always fall through it like an amnesiac, my fingers stained with your rust. I have not submitted this to Don, but I'm going to read a longer poem. Okay. Let me try this one. It's called The Hunger Moon. It's a villanelle. The night is born with the silver moon, a spread of clouds like spilled kanji. In gibbous face, it curves like a spoon. Like a child, I chant to myself, soon, soon, the sky will unfold a feast to feed me. The night is born with the silver moon. The lunar face is no useless balloon, but a tool to bring me something tasty. In gibbous face, it curves like a spoon. The sight of stars is making me swoon. O sky, you are abundant with luxury. The night is born with the silver moon. Before I know it, it will be noon. The moon white, no longer shiny. In gibbous face it curves like a spoon. Am I but a wretched buffoon, my heart and my stomach empty? The night is born with the silver moon. In gibbous face it curves like a spoon. Thank you. Is there a third round or this is it?
This might be it. Yeah, sorry
Okay.
to say.
All
But
right.
I'm glad we got you back.
Okay,
And
thank you, Chad.
thank you. And up next, the visual poet from Delaware, Mr. Robert Fleming.
Good evening. I just put in the chat. There's a Delaware magazine called Dream Streets, and they're looking for submissions from women. They publish poetry and fiction, also nonfiction, and I put the link in the chat if you're interested. And tonight I will be sharing some visual art. I recently submitted to a restaurant called the Palm Beach Bar and Grill, which is a local restaurant in Rehoboth, Delaware, who I'm hoping that they will put my art on their walls and make it available for sale. The restaurant's decor is like Palm Beach, Florida, very pink, flamingos, and palm trees. So I'm going to share some palm tree art, which I created for my submission. This is the one with the coconuts. And then on the left side, I applied a pink filter called hibiscus. And on the right side, I then added another filter called trippy opal, which sort of cut up the palm tree. I then took the last one and applied another filter called liquefied flow and turned the image into an abstract work. This is the original image on the left, and then the pink one on the right, which I think is most similar to the decor of the restaurant. There was also something wonderful that happened, which is two of the edits for the palm tree turned it into a character similar to in The Lord of the Rings. This is a character which is a tree who speaks and walks. The character's name is Treebeard, and he is the species an ent, a tree-like creature that shepherds the forest of Middle Earth. So here, these are the two edits of the palm tree, which looks similar to the tree from Lord of the Rings. The left side one has a filter called liquefied wobble, and the right side one has liquefied smudge. The one on the right looks like an insect. And then here is the comparison of the Lord of the Rings tree on the left side and the palm tree created with the wobble. And then this is the smudge. So thank you for letting me share my palm tree art. And please send out to the restaurant Palm Tree Bar and Grill in Rehoboth. Send them to Take Robert's Art to sell.
Good luck with that, Robert. And up next, he knows he's ready. He's got his camera on. Ethan Mackler. And done. Provides a lovely segue to our second to last person on the open mic for this round, Mr. Rich Boucher.
Hey, thanks. So Jeff earlier read a poem he just had published in the Blood Rag, and I'm going to share the one that I had published in the same issue. And this is called The End of the World Before the End of the World. The price of eggs can't be gold, except that they are, and it is. My downstairs neighbor is drinking early again, and it sounds like she's got a gentleman visitor. She's got a Trump bumper sticker on her SUV, and her moans sound like a tightening of our borders. I cut my thumb on a shopping cart, and I'm transported by my own blood into a fantasy land in high res 4K definition. Brianna Beach calls me son in the adult video. I call her mom. And from far off in remote heaven, I can see that my grandfather is proud of me. And the only thing really you have to know kind of going into that poem is that Brianna Beach is a lithe, limber, and generous adult actress
MILF.
who, yeah, I was going to say that's another word we could use for it, a certain kind of a MILF. And she specializes in taboo work, and she made a guest appearance in that poem.
I knew who she was.
Did you really?
I did.
Yeah, she's
I
quite
also
the delight.
I also know Coco Lovelock. So
Yeah, she's a delight too. Jeff's out here busting me.
hey, I'm busting myself just as much.
I'm saying Coco Lovelock is a lot of fun too. I don't know how the hell she gets herself bent completely in half like that. It's terrifying sometimes.
She must be a gymnast.
It has to be. There's no way she's not. Either that or she's missing like the bottom two ribs that everyone else has. You know, I have
That's
a
the
poem
next step
called
in all our
Coco.
evolution.
Jeff, you saw that I have a poem called Coco Lovelock in their Rye Whiskey Review, right?
Yeah, that's why I brought her up.
Oh, let's see. Thank you. Yeah. I did that deliberately to see if anybody who reads that publication I would cause them to look up who Coco Lovelock was, because what are the odds that the results are going to be anything?
No, the images in that search are going to be par excellence.
John being Mr. Wesick over there being a smartass. Rich Boucher talking about a porn star.
Oh,
Hey, now.
Coco Lovelock, I thought that was a chocolate bar.
Coco Locks.
You so did not. You so did not.
Coco Locks is my drag mother.
God.
Definitely
And
send stuff to Blood Rag, Robert.
all these names sound like they could be characters in Jon Wesick's book. But
And I'm
anyway,
just I'm just gonna say really quick before I get off mic. I don't know if anyone else is noticing it, but it looks like Chad's blushing a little bit.
oh,
Well,
you
porn
take a lot
star
more than
talk is
that to
not
shock
normal.
me. A lot more than that to shock me, sir. But time to implement the not safe for work Google. Anyway, let's go now to our closing person, the second half of the open mic. Check out his column tomorrow at 11 o'clock. It's all one thing at oddballmagazine.com. And by the way, check out IHateMattWall.com for information on the blood rag. I'll probably post a link there. But more on that another time. Let's go now to Mr. James Van Looy.
Thanks, Chad. So I have a poem here called Black Seed Writers, March 4th, 2025. Firestorms in Malibu forgotten now. As a huge snowstorm sweeps down from Canada across the Sun Belt to Florida, they say, well, it's been cold for a month. Here in New England, polar vortex breakdown feels like the Titanic and North Atlantic since Trump started demolition derby of all the billionaire-built special interest groups of hack-brained hijackers of process, stripping the government down to military, industrial, technological purity beyond imagining as they head at once straight for the bunkers and connive to get us to build escape rockets from Big Burke, turning with our last gaff, cough, hack, gack. But we infest the place already anyway, turning around suddenly to see a long life, a thread of community, tying it all in one together again, having medic shelters and poetry readings, this culture and this relationship shared, spreading out. And in this change that has happened, surely, and finally, completely divine, so splendid how it's all worked out through all those decades of neglect, abuse, and abandonment. It turned out was really, actually, liberation, a way to discover what everyone needed to know out there, struggling, emerging, finding a way to survive in spite of all their distractions. And here's a song for you. Stu Ball was a good horse. He wore a high head, and the more and the mane on his foretop was fine as silk thread. I rode him in England and I rode him in Spain, and I never did lose, boys. I always did gain. So come all you gamblers, wherever you are, and don't place your money on the old gray mare. Most likely she'll stumble, most likely she'll fall, but you never will lose on the mighty Stu Ball. And they were riding about halfway around. The great mare she stumbled and fell on the ground, and way out yonder, ahead of them all, came prancing and dancing my noble Stu Ball. Thank you.
Thank you, James. And thanks to everyone who attended tonight, and thanks so much for John for picking up the baton when I had to go help someone with the benefits of being at home. Also means you're on call, but I'm like an on-call doctor without the money or clout.
And
But
don't
we
forget,
are.
everybody, that next week is William Shatner week, when we will all read our poems in the voice of William Shatner.
That's going to be a challenge for Lee Eric Friedman, who's going to be the feature next week. And plus, if all of us do it except for him, he's going to be even more confused. I say I like this. I say go with it. But thank you all very much. And again, Lee Eric Friedman is the feature for next week. Looking very much forward to it. Hoping to post the information tonight and the flyer tomorrow. Thank you guys very much. Obligatory wave, and You guys were great. I can't wait to read to play back the parts that I missed. And thank you guys very much for your patience and for helping Jon with the Ramnator 5000. And we will see you next time. Take care. Show's
Thanks,
over.
everybody.
See you next time.